Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense, and this is take two.
Take two.
You know, operator error, I didn't hit the button that starts the damn thing. So there's a couple of fallouts here. First of all, we've already had a couple of sips of our first beer. We've got a great guest today. Pat Allen, for the second time, joins us on Thirsty Thursdays. Thirsty Thursdays, Sense and Nonsense. This time around is sort of double dipping. They're under the Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions banner. So this comes out on a Wednesday this time, but it'll spill over into Thursday as we try not to spill our beers. And we are at a private establishment that Joe will talk about, and I see animal heads and televisions, and there's supposed to be a free golden tea machine here somewhere. I haven't seen it yet, but anyway, we have our usual sense and nonsense to dive into. We'll talk to Pat Allen of Santa Fe Liquors, and he'll tell us about the first beer. You won't hear the crackling of beer openings to start. And we've got sense, we've got nonsense, we've got Happy Joe, because Borussia Dortmund has advanced to the Champions League finals in European soccer. And we got a couple of great beers. We got a summer theme on those. We got to choose 2 out of 4 beers. And the magic words were said, you get to take beer home with you. And, of course, that means we're going to be taking a pretty good amount of beer home with us because the beer here is free. So I ain't drinking any of the stuff I'm taking home after we're done here. But we've got a great third wheel this time around. Pat fits right in with our sense, our nonsense, our facts, our fictions. We all three of us think we're pretty smart, so that kind of helps out the process, which will start coming up next. Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense, right here on the road in a beautiful location. Let's get cracking.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Always great to catch up with Dr. Brad Whittle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Everybody wants to make every year a great one, mentally and physically, and certainly ASFCA can help in that regard.
Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies. We're going to address the body and the mind to keep you in great shape. With winter moving into spring, we don't want to have the opportunity to get hurt or to be slow and not do what we used to do, right?
Absolutely right, and you can do that in a variety of ways.
We can. We love looking at the body and how it moves, looking at the posture and how it holds us to be strong, to be safe, and really to help us do those things we love to do.
The wide variety and range of services you can get helps in that regard at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. 7 locations all around the Kansas City area. Find the one that's most convenient for you. And for more information, visit asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing here. Well, it hailed like crazy, and the last thing you want to do is deal with another roofer. So don't. When they show up, tell them you know a guy. An Easton Roofing sign in your yard lets everybody know you want it done right, and it's the best storm chaser repellent you can get. Call us today for a free, no-obligation inspection, 913-257-5426 or eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
We're here at the 23rd Street Brewery with Matt Llewellyn. And Matt, you've got a great menu. You fine-tuned it a little bit. Great beers. There's always something to be had to put a smile on your face at the 23rd Street Brewery.
Oh, you bet. And Brian Haney would always say, come have the Haney turkey stack. Bill Self would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. I would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. It's great. Great mac and cheese, buffalo mac and cheese. And we've got a ton of other menu items that you're sure to love. We've got a great brewer who's brewing great beer. And if you like craft beer, our guy's the way to go. And we're making great drinks, too. There's a great new distillery in the state of Kansas called Llewellyn Distillery. My brother's doing that. He makes some great whiskey and vodka and rum, and we're doing all kinds of great drinks with those beverages.
Always fun to be had at the 23rd Street Brewery, 23rd and Castle. Come on by anytime and have a good time. If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business to Kansas City's #1 variety podcast, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Bay-o, bay-fo, bay. Bay-o, bay-fo, bay. Bay-o, 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 bay-fo, bay. Yeah.
We had to fake the beer opening because we'd already opened the beers before take 2 started.
The Schwarzengelb are through to the Champions League final.
All right,
Danny.
now
I couldn't be any
we
happier.
aren't going to wallow in Borussia Dortmund, but you're a happy guy today. So tell us what all that gobbledygook of German you just said was.
The Schwarzengelb is just black and yellow.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I like their whole. They've got the yellow wall.
Yes, sir.
And they really cleverly do this. And Pat, you're an expert on just about anything, but they teased us all through this thing. They'd put a game on CBS every Tuesday and Wednesday. Now that we get to the semifinals, nada.
No.
Yeah, it's
Paramount Plus.
Well, I'm a Paramount Plus subscriber,
I'm
so
not.
I get my Champions League.
So I listened to the end on the way over here. We're taping on a Tuesday.
Well, they beat Paris Saint-Germain, who has a $300 million a year payroll, against Borussia Dortmund's meager $130 million payroll. So, it's a real David and Goliath story.
Well, but Borussia has always done a great job of developing talent and sending it elsewhere, and so they're fun to watch. I enjoy the games. I just had to make a philosophical decision a few years ago that there's only so much bandwidth for me to watch soccer. So I said, I'm just not going to try to dive into the Bundesliga. I've got to be EPL. My sister and I trade conversations about it. So
it was one of the best parts of the pandemic was everybody became a Bundesliga fan because it was the only show in town there for a few months. I loved it. But Pat, you've brought us a couple of fine brews here that we're starting with. We've got a German-style Pilsner to start with. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me again. First one we've got here is Papa Pils from Eredita, which is a brand under the 12% brands. 12% Beer Project is the name of the ownership group, and then Eredita is the brand. And then it's Papa Pils, and it's a German-style Pilsner. And Pilsner is a style of lager, right? So,
and I'm already about
you're
halfway
the expert. What makes something a Pilsner? I mean, that's like Budweiser's a Pilsner. I mean, it's
correct. So Pilsner is a style of lager. So you have two styles of beer, right? There's really only two styles of beer when it comes down to it. There's lagers and there's ales. And lagers are bottom fermented, and ales are top fermented.
Huh.
So
what does that mean exactly?
The yeast, where the yeast is active. Is the yeast active at the bottom of the tank, or is the yeast active at the top? And so like Budweiser's Beechwood aging, right? I don't know if you've ever taken the Budweiser tour, but they have that Beechwood in there. And it actually, Beechwood is interesting because it doesn't float really well.
Right.
So it kind of suspends in the middle of it. So it's that's why it's a lager. That interacts with all the yeast.
So when the yeast is, for an ale, where's the yeast? Down the bottom or down up top? So that's why ales would be stronger per se.
It is one reason. It is one reason that they are stronger. Yeah, because the alcohol is lighter and it goes up to the top. And I'm
a man of reason.
They're much more active. It's a hotter. It creates a lot. It's an exothermic reaction, so it creates heat.
Now,
but it's a great beer.
We often talk about, and we don't really grade on a scale here, and we'll get to the grade on this, but we always note the ABV for these, percentage for these beers. Just first of all, as a warning, sometimes. But secondly, also sometimes. I mean, we had a beer last time that was a juicy IPA, and it was a 9 point something, and it tasted nothing like a 9%.
Yeah, it was. Great.
Usually you get up that high, and it's a 9.
Yeah, that was.
And usually I would just say, I don't want to drink anything over a 9, not because I, wouldn't like the extra kick, as it were, but because usually it just is like hits you taste-wise really hard. So what do you do does it just brew longer, or what do you do to make it a higher alcohol?
Well, so those are Imperials usually, or doubles, right? So a double IPA it's a double ale, and it basically goes through that process twice.
I got
and
you.
so they're taking the alcohol content off the top, and then they reintroduce some new yeast and do it again, and so it refines. Yeah, so that's how they get it.
So tell us a little bit about Santa Fe Liquors. You obviously provide the beers each edition of Thirsty Thursdays, and we get great selections of those, and it's a real pleasure to do that.
Yeah, appreciate the beers, Pat.
But your highly curated store. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Santa Fe Liquors, we've been open almost 4 years now, right at 3 years in our current location. And we have, like I said, highly curated selection of wine, beer, and spirits to share with your family and friends. We've got our customers are some amazing people, but we're always looking for new ones and love meeting new people. So
That's exactly right. Easy to describe where it is, right at that little confluence of Santa Fe and 87th.
Yep.
Might be careful going in and out, but
yes, we are the closest
the
liquor
first
store.
time I went and picked up beers from Pat, he almost hit me in his truck. He did.
Now, Danny can see now, but I wasn't sure he could see then either because he was coming through the parking lot at a pretty good clip. But it is a bad parking lot, though. It's a terrible parking lot.
Right,
we have people cut through it all the time.
You just have to be careful.
I'm about halfway through this thing.
It's a good Pilsner.
It's a really good Pilsner. I'm going to go 8 even on this for me. I like a Pilsner.
I don't think I'm going up the chain that far, but because Pilsner it wouldn't be my beer of choice. I like ales better, but I think this is an excellent Pilsner, so I'm going to go 7.5.
I would tend to be more on Joe's side of things and do like an 8. I think this is a great Pilsner.
There we go. Now, Joe is dropping his computer into his lap, which means it's almost fact check time. But before you do that, we're on the road. Now, we don't do video on our podcasts almost never. Maybe in the future. I don't know. I kind of like the relaxed. Most people just listen to podcasts anyway. But we're in a special location. Tell us about it because you've brought us. When I texted you about the location, I referred to it as the Swank Tank. It's a private establishment here. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm a member here. This is Arrived Outdoors. It's a beautiful little spot off of 75th Street. It's just a collection of really good dudes that are mostly business owners, C-suite guys. And it's kind of just a clubhouse. We've got a golf simulator and a golden tee, shuffleboard, pool tables, cigar smoking room. It's just a place where a bunch of dudes come and hang out. You know, there's a pretty good booze selection. You got your own locker. I've got some really good stuff in the locker. And, it's a great place to take meetings. I've taken a ton of meetings here in the short time I've been a member, and I'd love it. I wanted you guys to see it, and I thought you might enjoy the free golden tee as well.
I love a good game of golden tee. I don't often. I play against the rest of the nation.
Yeah, I think you can do that here also.
Every time I play. But it's hard to play a golden tee game against somebody else because it does take a long time if you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, a game of golden tee takes, 25 minutes, maybe 30, maybe a little less. So if you get 2 people, then if you got 3 people, then it's really turning into an epic.
Well, yeah, but, the beers are free. So.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it here. I'm just saying ordinarily, like a guy, I'll go to a certain place to play some golden tee, and a guy will come up and he say, "Hey, you want to play?" And I'm like, I'm kind of in a hurry.
The beverage cart is way more accessible than at your local Muni, though. On Golden Tee, it's way more accessible.
Way more accessible. But, all right, we got to get to this fact check before I run out of beer. What do you say?
Okay, that sounds good.
We don't have much, but last time you talked about back-to-back, belly-to-belly.
I did. I don't know what brought it up, but we said something about back-to-back, and then I said back-to-back, belly-to-belly, and I don't even remember why it popped into my head, but tell us the derivation, Joe. That's what we do here.
It sounded a little sexual, I thought, but not so much. It's associated with a calypso song called Back to Back, Belly to Belly by Lionel Belasco. And the song was popularized in your youth of the 1950s. So
that's not my youth. I was born. But anyway.
So maybe you've heard the calypso song, Back to Back, Belly to Belly.
I have not. A nice calypso song every now and then is okay, but...
Well, last time you were griping about your surgical recovery, and my father-in-law, who had the same thing, and he's an avid listener, he told me that you were kind of being a baby about it because he had the same surgery.
Well, I wasn't being a baby. It just sucked. I mean, does anybody want to just lay flat on their stomach for a week and that's all you can do? And you get 5 minutes to stand up every hour? I'm an avid exerciser. I couldn't do that.
Well, you said you got sore from laying around.
I did.
Which I didn't believe. I looked it up, and that's actually a real thing. You can get sore from laying around. And they say it's the same type of soreness you'll feel after a vigorous workout. When you're sedentary for an extended period, your muscles get stiff and tense, the same as if you were to work out. So you really were sore.